I made the same decision twice this week. Once at 3 in the afternoon, when I knew it was fine. Once at deep night, when it felt like a small disaster. I made the same decision twice this week. Once at 3 in the afternoon, when I knew it was fine. The light was soft. The kitchen was quiet. I put down a small plan in my head about whether to send a message to a friend. I thought it through, decided yes, and went on with the rest of the day. Once at 11 at night, when it felt like a small disaster. I was lying in bed. The ceiling was dark. The same plan came back. The same words. The same friend. Only this time, it didn't feel like a small thing. It felt heavier. Sharper. Like maybe I had read it wrong. Like maybe I was about to do something I would regret. Same plan. Same person. Same words. Different weight. I sat up in the dark and noticed the strangeness of it. The afternoon version of me had not been wrong. The night version was not telling me a new truth. The plan had not changed. But the way it sat in my chest had completely changed. And eventually, the question came. Quietly. The way questions come when no one is asking them out loud. Why does the same thing feel heavier at night? Why does the same thing feel heavier at night? I closed my eyes and let the question stay. It wasn't dramatic. I wasn't in a crisis. It was just the kind of quiet observation you sometimes get about yourself, late, when nothing else is asking for your attention. A decision had been small at 3 in the afternoon. The same decision was sitting on my chest at 11 at night. Nothing had happened in between. No new information had arrived. No one had said anything. The friend had not changed. The plan had not changed. But somehow the night had a different scale. The same thing weighed more. I thought about the times I had cried at midnight over things that did not bother me at noon. The times I had written long, urgent messages at 1 in the morning that I later deleted. The times I had been sure, around 2, that something terrible was about to happen, and woken up at 7 to find that it had not happened, was not happening, was never going to happen. I had a record. A long, quiet record of nights that had felt like emergencies and mornings that had not. And yet, every time the night came back, the heaviness came with it. As if my mind kept forgetting what the morning had taught me. The night has a different clock. I noticed this slowly, over years, without naming it. In the daytime, things move. A call. A meal. A small errand. The day pulls you forward whether you are ready or not. There is no time to sit with the same thought twice. By the time you finish thinking it once, something else has already arrived. Something else has needed your attention. The day pulls you forward. The day carries the worry 2 stops further down the line. The night does not. The night asks the worry to sit down across from you. Once the lights are off, once the bed is made, once nothing else is asking for you, there is only the small lamp, the dark window, the blank space at the end of the day. And whatever has been waiting all afternoon to be looked at, finally walks in and sits down across from you. It does not bring new information. It just brings the time you did not give it earlier. I thought I was thinking more clearly at night because there were fewer distractions. But that wasn't quite it. I was just thinking more slowly. The same thoughts. Slower. Heavier. With nowhere else to go. At night, I review things I cannot do anything about. I noticed this, too. The conversation from 3 weeks ago. The message I sent too quickly. The sentence I wish I had said differently. The look someone gave me, that I have probably already misread, but cannot stop replaying. By day, these things are filed away somewhere small. The day forces a kind of triage. By night, the triage stops. And the body, which has been holding the day, lies still. The mind, which has been busy, finally has the room. But the room it has is not a room for solving. It is too late to call. Too late to send. Too late to fix the email I sent too quickly. The night gives me space to review without giving me anything to do. So the mind goes in circles. The first circle is the conversation. The second circle is what I should have said. The third circle is what they probably thought of me. The fourth circle is whether they still think it. By the fifth circle, I am not even reviewing the original event anymore. I am reviewing my review. And nothing has happened. The phone has not rung. The email has not changed. No one has thought about me in hours. But I am moving in tighter and tighter circles around an event that is, by now, mostly imagined. Night does not always reveal the truth. Sometimes it only turns the volume up on the part of us that is tired. I held that one for a long time after it came. There is a quiet idea, somewhere in the back of how I was raised, that says, the truth is what you think when no one else is around. That late at night, with the lights off, you finally see things as they really are. But the more nights I had spent thinking dark thoughts about things that did not turn out to be true, the less I trusted that idea. Because the night is not actually a clearer light. The night is a tired light. It is the light at the end of a day in which I have already used most of the kindness I had for myself. The patience I had for myself. The benefit of the doubt I had for myself. By 11 at night, the supply is mostly gone. And what remains is something that calls itself honest, but is really just exhausted. The friend has not changed. The plan has not changed. The decision was fine at 3. It is still fine at 11. Only the part of me that was holding the kindness has, by now, gone to sleep. The harshness that arrives in its place is not the truth. It is the silence the kindness has left behind. At night, I forget the day version of myself. That was the next thing I noticed. The version of me at 3 in the afternoon, the one who had decided the message was fine, was not a stranger. That afternoon part of me had thought about it. Had weighed it. Had made a small, calm decision based on what it knew. But by 11 at night, that part of me was gone. Not contradicted. Just forgotten. The night self did not say, the afternoon was wrong. It said, the afternoon never happened. As if it had inherited the decision without remembering the reasoning. As if the small calm act of deciding had vanished, and only the decision itself was sitting there, raw and exposed, waiting to be rejudged. I think this is part of what makes the night feel so heavy. Not just the silence. Not just the slow clock. But that the parts of me that had already done the work, the parts that had already decided, already trusted, already allowed myself to be okay, those parts are not on duty at night. The night self begins from scratch. It does not have access to the morning's evidence. So every old decision, fresh in its hands, looks like a decision that has not yet been made. And anything that has not yet been made still feels like it could go wrong. The important answers have rarely come at night. I sat with this one for a while too. Some of the worst nights of my life have produced no useful insights. They have produced only longer versions of the worry I had at the beginning of the night. The worry has not been resolved. It has been rehearsed. The actual answers, when they have come at strange other times. While I was washing a cup. While I was walking down a street I had walked 100 times. While I was on hold with a customer service line and not really thinking about the problem at all. The morning after a bath. The first warm sip of tea on a Sunday. These were the times the answer came. The night did not produce answers. The night produced fear with the shape of an answer. I once heard someone compare the midnight mind to a small store after closing. The lights are still on. The shelves are still there. But it is not the hour to buy anything important. The register is tired. The worker wants to go home. And everything looks more expensive than it is. I held that one for a long time. I did not believe it the first time. I believed it the 7th time. By the 20th time I had watched myself try to make a final purchase at midnight and regret it by morning, I had stopped arguing with it. The night may not be a time for deciding. A quiet answer came, slowly, the way these answers tend to. Maybe the night is not the room where decisions are supposed to be made. The night is something else. A room for resting. A room for handing the day back to itself. A room for letting go of the small grip we kept on things while the world was still asking us for things. The decision is not gone. The friend is not gone. The plan is not gone. They are just out of office hours. So how do I stop spinning at night? Maybe just notice. Don't even try to stop yet. Just notice the spinning. Notice that the same thought has come around 3 times already. Notice that the loop is tighter than the original event. That much, the night can do. What about the heaviness? It might be a kindness you give yourself, for now. The heaviness is not lying. It is reporting on how tired the day self is. It just isn't reliable as a judgment of the morning's plan. That last line stayed with me longest. Then one last quiet answer came. I once heard someone say it more simply, in a small line at the end of a book whose author I have forgotten. Don't believe what you think. After midnight. Not because the thought is necessarily false. But because the part of you that is doing the thinking is the part that has, by now, run out of food. The decision can wait. The friend will still be the friend in the morning. The plan will still be the plan. And the part of you that decides things kindly may have come back by then, carrying something warm in its hands. Cross-reference. A Quiet Answer Episode 06. The narrator asks a small ordinary question, why does the same thing feel heavier at night? And follows it across the night clock, the review loop, the tired light, the forgotten day self, the absent midnight answer, and the morning kindness. The closing fable, don't believe what you think after midnight. End of file.